Okay guys, at this time we want to go and activate our conversion tracking and set it up. The first thing is that conversion tracking, similar to remarketing, should have a data source defined for it. And you need to specify where your conversion is coming from and what you are using it for. First, you need to define it and its data source. Next, when we want to do this, when we go into the tools and click on conversion settings to set it up, it asks us where we want to get this data from for our conversion tracking. Guys, when you select the website, we are setting it up through Google Ads again. When you are importing data, you are getting it from another dashboard like Google Analytics, G4, or any other dashboard you have. You are passing the tracker from there, as there are different circuits. Regarding phone calls and apps, I am not dealing with apps right now. You can track app installs, in-app purchases, and other app actions with their specific dashboards like Firebase, Google Play, etc. However, you cannot use phone call tracking in Iran. Although it is mentioned that a conversion occurs, for example, when a call is made or a number is displayed on your website, etc., to perform this action. You can use forwarding numbers with Google, but it is not possible outside of Iran. It's like virtual numbers. You can even track their duration or person, and this matter is different. And you should track them in that state, but you cannot use them in Iran. We usually use either a website or import data. When you click on the website, this action was previously available. It really didn't work out. I don't understand why it does such a thing, but it actually suggests some compression actions. Now, either from the website, meaning we go with the code and work on the website ourselves, or pass the data from analytics. If you want to pass the data from analytics, a goal must be defined in your analytics. If you don't have a goal, it can't be done. Another important requirement is that analytics must have a connection to Google. So it must both have a connection and a goal defined in analytics. If it's an event or something else, it doesn't have the capability to pass it. You need a G, define it in there and then proceed with it, okay? Let's set up this initial part. For example, let's say I want to do this on the website hdmarketing.org. Let's go ahead and do it. It starts scanning. And then it gives save and continue to the same. And we continue with the story, okay? He confirmed it. No, now. I don't know why it says something like this. It says, sir, should I do this automatically from the website on a specific landing page, or do you want to do it manually? When you want to do it manually, guys, you have to set everything one by one yourself and, for example, click on the button and so on. And usually you use this if you want to get its source. Let me emphasize this right here. Under no circumstances, if you have set a conversion goal in your analytics and want to pass it from analytics, please do not simultaneously set your conversion tracker again from Google Ads. If you are setting it from Google Ads, then do not pass it from analytics. If it becomes a goal and you want to define it as a conversion, because the conversion is being counted twice, once by this code. Well then, therefore we do one thing, which I usually do with analytics. Now for its setting, I will tell you on Google Ads, if I want to do this on Google Ads, I say, sir, I want to define it manually. Well, it says, sir, conversion actions need to be created manually and need to be added to your website code. Well, you must definitely do this. Or you add it in remarketing. You place a remarketing tag, a conversion lie. Here, exactly the same thing is raised that we explained with the single session. It says, sir, first define for me what action you want to have as this subject. In fact, you can set it now and later you can define it yourself, meaning it has a definition. For example, it says, sir, I want to define a purchase. Well, it says conversion action optimization option. It says add purchases to account default. Right here, I'm telling you about the conversion action at the account default level, which is also its default. Or it can be set at the campaign level. Yeah? I come and know that I have set up a campaign for training. I specifically define the conversion purchase on this as primary in fact, the campaign that is, for example, about my leads, like the website SEO. Well, my content or similar limit becomes a lead. The person on my website at this final point does not have this purchase. I do not define a purchase here anymore. I say, sir, this campaign. The conversion that I want to set, I have defined 10 of them in my account. And I say, sir, let's only consider the form or call for this conversion. Therefore, I can specifically define this for my campaign, which I will teach you. He says, sir, should I put this in this 100 or what? I say, sir, come and put this from the purchase into the default account goal film, and then you can specifically stimulate it for the campaign, okay? I set this as primary, and for secondary, he says, sir, right now at this point, I can't film. It says you cannot create a new goal with a secondary action when you've set it to 100, and then it changes it. I can say conversion name. I say, sir, it's a purchase, for example. Suppose I set it for my own course. This has nothing to do with the values. That can be shown, those actions I mentioned to you guys. Here I say purchase, sir. Consider using the same value. I set an average order value for you, for example. I set a rule here because it's my own account rule. Or I say, sir, do not use the value for this conversion, what is in my Google Ads account, okay? Should the count be every or one? Since it's a purchase, I set it to every. You see this click-through conversion window, engage view conversion window, and view-through conversion window. View-through was for display, engage view was for video. Guys, I don't have anything to do with it, and click-through conversion, since both are used in search, is important for us. Guys, I went over it again and figured it out. How do I tell you? For now, I'm setting it up like this. For example, I say, sir, set it for 60 days for me. Well, it's approximately between 60 and 90 days, roughly. These two are not important to me right now. And for the attribution model, I start my work with a linear setup. Then I analyze it. I will show you how to adjust both the conversion window and the attribution model from a place called the conversion delay, which you can find in the menu under Tools, Settings, and Attribution. Okay, for now, set this up with me and then you can learn it. Pay attention, guys. When you set the conversion, remember there was a checkbox below for manual strategy. This is CPC, and it asks if I should activate it. Please, guys, do not activate it at this point. Please deactivate it, and finally I click Done. I want to tell you the steps for now, and then I can take another action. You can change its settings. As they told you, their conversion is visible. We will review this together. Not in this account, but in another account, and we will discuss it together. Okay, let's assume I have completed one. It says save and continue, please, and then I will give instructions for the next step. Guys, to set it up, if you want to set this, it says use Google Tag. I am not dealing with this right now. Okay. The Google Tag it mentions does this with its own ID. I am not dealing with it now. Okay. I will set this up with Google Tag Manager. Okay. I am going into my Tag Manager. Okay. I am going into my Tag Manager. It gives me a conversion ID with a conversion label. Guys, you have different conversion labels. Down. What was the conversion ID? It was the same global site tag code that you set once. Yeah? What is a purchase hit? It's the same name I put for it. With a conversion label. We might have 10 conversions defined, and then we set them one by one. It's said to be difficult, but still, if you want to. Because I don't like it in my tag, I allow you. I click on New Tag, and right here, what? Course purchase. I name it Google Ads for single configuration. Guys, you had a remarketing day, and a conversion tracking day. I click on this. Your conversion linker must be active. If not, check its box. I take my conversion ID and put it here. Good. And then I copy my conversion label. I take it and put it here. If I have a complete video and have set it in the previous two steps, I say it gives me, I put it here. If it's not a niche or transaction ID related to e-commerce discussions, and I'm not familiar with it, and finally I set a trigger for it, What is the trigger tone? It might be the page. Load, this becomes my discussion. It should track the event. I don't have a task with it. You need to know what trigger means in the context of a tag. So what trigger do I set? I say page, load. In terms of status, it should be okay. For example, I'm saying you set your trigger Y2 at the point where you want it to finalize. Suppose the purchase is made and it returns from the bank. You might set the loading of that page to visibility. You can set your trigger to visibility at all. You guys need to go and read a bit about Tag Manager. Anar says done. When you click done, here in your conversion summary section, down you have a troubleshooting discussion to check it. For example, it says to have a tag assistant. Connect it, set the conversion action by triggering it on your website. What is this? When you set this, you come, you're getting a pew. When you trigger it, you get this preview. And finally, if your preview is done there, you go and submit it. Well, this person is exactly saying that once you perform this preview, you get it. And finally, when you click continue, it goes into the checking process. You see, it brings up the tag assistant to do this. I don't want to do this right now because the checking and troubleshooting are the same. Unverified because of this issue. When you set it, it no longer remains in the unverified state. Now guys, if you want to edit this, if you want to make changes, I clicked on it. And in its settings, when I click edit, you see, it's all about the discussion that's inside. I mentioned the model of these cases, and I can change it here. Again, and I can even convert it to secondary. You see, it goes to secondary. Because right now, I'll show you in the dashboard that you can change this. I came to the categorization, and even the categorization I had set here. Your categorization also has the capability to be changed. You see, you might set it. You might come back and set it on purchase again, and so on. You can set it and so on. So pay attention to this. From the side where I want you to see the tag again, you see use the Google Tag Manager. This is the conversion ID and conversion label you see again. This is the conversion and this is the conversion, guys. This is the same semi-automated activation. Don't repeat it. How do we know it's activated and when it's next to it? In your bid settings or in your campaign settings? Or in your bid settings? Well, here I come into my campaign settings. Right at the top, I can see this. If this is activated, I am happy to see it here in my settings. Or next to your keyboard. Pay attention to the bid next to your keyboard. Maxi writes here in parentheses, I don't have anything to do with it. And if you see it, go ahead and activate it because its analysis process is different, which we will address later. I was teaching how to block this variant, and you also review its other settings. Even if I edit Google, I can categorize it from here. You see it says accountable or do not use accountable. You can see here you need to check the category. But you see your purchase category. Now we need to see another example here. We go to the conversion section. I have the purchase category here. I have the add to basket category. I can change these. I can even define a custom goal or a new category. Here, add custom goal can categorize these. These become different categories that you can assign to it, and you can even pass them around or rearrange them. This was the topic related to conversion actions. I also have something like that, as I mentioned to you both. Up to this point, I've set it up from Google Ads. Guys, I was importing a segment and it was going smoothly. Now it might be an application. From here I say, I want to bring in Google Analytics UA. I don't want to switch to GA4 right now. I have my UA data. I'm clicking continue. Don't forget, don't set your purchase from both Google Ads and Analytics at the same time. Set it from one of them, okay? And I want this from it. I say, sir, I want you to pass this to me as a goal to be imported here. I click continue. Pay close attention to something, guys. First of all, it's showing you based on views here. Not, if you select both of these, it naturally becomes illogical, right? The next point is, if you once convert a goal here and bring it over to this side in your goals section, If you go and edit it here, if it has been passed in this way even once, you will no longer see it with this new name in your Google Analytics after you link it and center it. Therefore, whatever decision you have, make sure to finalize everything, including their names, etc., before setting your conversion. If you want to pass it because there is this issue that it doesn't update it here, you won't see all of them. Well, if you don't see your conversion here, check two places. First, the issue might be that you haven't set it in Analytics and it was an event. Well, with the event, if you are setting it up, I will read it for you. We'll bring it. You might have passed the subject twice and then checked the box and clicked Save Import. When you import it, you see that from Analytics. You no longer see it on your list. Don't be surprised, because once you've passed it, it has come over here. Well, you've clicked Save Import once, and this data has been passed from this side and has come over once again in that list. When I also click Continue, I no longer see it in this list that I have here. As you can see, it says you have 16 here, whereas I have 18 in Analytics. I brought those two over, passed them, and brought them over there. So when I continue with this import, it's what's next check date is done. And it comes over there, which I can see now. I don't click Import so that it doesn't mess up this side with the data that I have. I don't see it. So in the list, once you pass everything, it all comes over here. But I don't want everything. I bring over what I want so that I have it exactly in my categories and can use it. I'm actually recording this. Well, when you change it, you no longer see that data here, which is very painful, and we need to address this issue. And the number of timestamps in that time frame, whether it's primary or secondary. Guys, this too. Big. I said I want it to be in different campaigns. You see it here because I see it too. Google Analytics makes passing it easier, much easier. Okay, and it comes here. And from now on, you include it in your conversions. Let's take a look at the campaign. When I'm looking at my campaign here, guys, I can add the conversion column. I come to modify columns and search for it right here. Now, where am I seeing it? I'm looking at the shopping ad groups. No, I'm looking at the ad group. I'm checking the conversion, okay? When I click on conversion, I have the conversion here. I have the conversion cost as well. It's all about making a decision for conversion. And ultimately, it doesn't remind me of the conversion. The conversion that is giving the poster is assessing the impact of ad interaction. It means the conversion is completely within the conversion range. I know what I'm saying. You haven't had any ad interaction, but in Analytics, you see it has registered the goal and attributed it to organic. It doesn't come here to show you anything. It's completely. In fact, it has been without any interaction during that period, and only the user who came and hit the conversion, according to Google, doesn't have any meaning. Ultimately, the conversion rate is divided by the number of interactions, or how often it divides the conversion by the number of interactions. One point that is important in conversion analysis is that if your conversion is very low, like a Q, this number you're looking at it strangely, so you're looking at Casper conversion, strangely too. In a logical range, I see the Casper conversion correctly. Pay attention to what I see in the conversion column. I see all those items that I set as primary actions and were in this campaign. If it was at the account level, then at the account level. If I set it at the campaign level, then the rest is done. Well, I see all the primary conversions here. So there is a column named All Conversions. Do you see? This all converges, but the number of conversions might not match sometimes if they are primary. The reason it reads both is because both are primary. If one was secondary, this would cause a discrepancy. The number might be higher, and here it was only showing you the primary. The next point I want to discuss is at the campaign level. I want to come and modify it. I go into my campaign settings, and I'm talking about the specific settings for each campaign. I entered my campaign settings, and here we see the goals section. Sometimes it doesn't convert for the account. Well, you see use account goal settings. You see use account. But I can do something else. For example, it has placed get direction here. I'm not exempt from it. I say use campaign specific goal. Choose campaign. Goal. For instance, I say contact is not important for me in this shopping campaign right now. Purchase is important for me, and I save it. Well, purchase is important for me, and I finally save it here. So in this campaign, it only sees purchase as my conversion, even if they are primary. So I customized it at the campaign level. Therefore, I approach this goal as for my campaign by saying, sir, just this one conversion. I had, for example, turned everything to this side, but I only considered this as the conversion for my campaign. It gave an error because it has a bit of a network issue. Saving it, but it was customized. The last topic I want to discuss in this section is about the conversion delay, which affected what you would take as the conversion window and ultimately the attribution model you provide. When you go to Tools and Settings, and click on Attribution, you will see some things in the Tools and Settings attribution section like Overview, Mark Send, and Conversion Path metrics, Assisted Conversion, Model Conversion, and switch to DDA. What was DDA? Data driven. Attribution has a look back window. For analysis, I usually set it a bit larger, for example, at 60%. Well, you see, now here, 6 of the conversions can become data driven. This requires having 300 of the conversions. Well, and all interactions, for example, I don't want to review all interactions right now. Let's say I'm talking about a successful purchase. Now suppose I set it to all interactions. Well, it's set for 60 days, for example. Now, if I change it, I might also look at the data in post-analysis. What is this method saying? It says, sir, 100% of your users in this time frame had 2 ad interactions and a plus. So if I want to review it, guys, I set it to linear, set the time, and it doesn't matter to me if the linears are set to last, because even this has over 90% with 1 interaction. Well, and finally, this is my daily analysis. It says, sir, 100% of your conversions took more than 2 days. To see this data a bit more clearly, it also enlarges it. Well, I wasn't paying attention to this date. Focus on it, it's very important. Did you see it, kids? I wasn't paying attention to the date. I had set it for 7 days. I analyze it, even if I look at it, we do it. This is an existential problem. I come back again to the interaction now. It says here that 60% of it was this, kids. 40% was more in the interaction. It's still a lot. If I were in such a situation, I would come back to linear again to hit the parametric. Now it's more detailed. I see. An innovative and interesting point that in the date, it says, sir, it might have 2 interactions. It could have all 2 or 3 interactions, but then it says, sir, the result of both cases is unique. Practically, this is showing me something. Meaning, sir, that friend who had the interaction adjustment also searched on the same day. It doesn't show in the broadcast period. So your conversion window needs to be very large. Look, I come to the post matrix. Here, I look average. Day to conversion, guys, it practically says 96% of it happened within 3 days. Well, you see, they did this in less than a day. And it says what? On average, they had 2 ad interactions. That plastic you saw was added. It has been divided into other days. You see? So if I set this as a look-back window, for example, or set a conversion window to 60 days prior, practically, this business is selling clothes, like a haberdashery, or clothing store. I'm actually interfering with the previous ad interactions that might have led to a purchase. Well, it means I'm bringing the impact of another purchase into this, which I shouldn't do. So I don't need to set this conversion window too large. I go back to that 30-day period, edit it, and set it to 7 days. Because my user's behavior during those additional 30 days was related to other events, practically. And I want to understand the impact of this, what happened, this is showing me that it indicates 2 interactions with the conversion, and it also tells me that nearly the same day, the task was completed. If I set a very long time frame here, it means I'm saying the average had 2 interaction goals, and it was summarized in that one day. This is giving me a hint, telling me if there were 2 interaction goals, it was on the same day. It was needed, it went, it was clear, and it was finished. If it went into another time frame, so I don't unnecessarily exaggerate this conversion. And here it shows me, now you see in the emoji model, you see it had 10 directions, for example. The time frame that took place in minutes, you see days to converge from last interaction. And before this, in the overview, I saw something else with you. Did you see it? What I was seeing, again, emphasized exactly the same topic I was talking about. This also, which is happening in sensitive devices, says, sir, your convergence, a part of it is mobile. And it says, sir, add this fraction of the device. Okay? People are on mobile. Or it says, no, your convergence has happened cross-device. Okay? What does cross-device mean? It means a little bit of it was this much, then this much is computer-based. Okay? And what is this showing us? Okay? Guys, this is something that you must have adjustments on your device. And it shows that they have come. I can close the tablet. I can also bring traffic, people on mobile. My mobile convergence is very valuable. Make sure your term is correct. Then I will tell you to create a segment. This is the manager of the segments. Okay? And top assisted is actually the assisted campaign, guys, meaning it's supportive. Okay? I can see, sir, it has had an impact. And I can also see the last click conversion, sir. The store's behavior has been like a store. Okay? It's educational. It says, click and view assisted. 13 of them have been assisted. And how many have had the last click? Okay, it had a last click, us. So guys, the things I understood here, I also understood the conversion delay, sir. Usually short, I don't have much conversion delay thought. Okay? Say, sir, 18% of your conversion journey was completed in more than 2 days. Okay? So I should pay attention to this. And the date I selected is larger than your door. Say I should adjust the look back window. For example, if I make it 30 days, this number will change. Guys, you see, the look back video is the same video. Therefore, for what I am seeing, I don't want to set a very large time frame. Because if you set it large, it will also show the impact of your previous campaigns again. I am from the daily campaign, and the analysis I had for the campaign, how to seed it, suggest passing your data from analytics through a tool you are using to count, pass it to your daily campaign. Don't just click randomly. And for the attribution model, set it to linear. My opinion isn't significant, but I set it to linear for review. I still have time, and I have my own discussion. Practically, being less doesn't make much difference because I had interaction with it. I want to correct it, and I spend my time here differently. I put linear here, and I was paying attention to it. I want to correct my words, and I was looking at it during the interaction. When I look at it, I realize, sir, 60% is up here. 90% should be fine. Putting less doesn't make much difference in the program. And practically, here I am doing this too. Or until this point, I work better with linear in my own analysis. This is also the model that I actually mentioned in the overview discussion bar, where I said I checked it in attribution, talked about setting conversion primary and secondary, and mentioned its settings. I prefer to send it from that side. Just a final note. Guys, if you're passing your data from Google Analytics and it comes over here, go into your conversion action and pay attention to what I'm saying. Go into your settings. The default account that is passed from analytics, if you're passing it from analytics, I emphasize, come back to its settings. If it's a purchase, definitely make it offered. Many people make this mistake and are not aware of it. Note this down in your notebook. It's a very important point that if you're importing from analytics, or if it's from a link, etc., set its account to one default, and finally seal it if it's a purchase. If it's a subscription, it doesn't make a difference to me. Leave it on the same one. And the next point is that we emphasized not to check that enhanced box because it goes into a mode that doesn't work well with your base. You almost make it a rule, and you don't understand what it's doing. I showed you next to your keyboard that box is actually lectures in the parameters. It might not be there, or you can see it in your campaign settings under your bidding strategy. This point is completely closed in the video.